just wanted to walk in here. I
Time
just went
to
with the
start
sit
the
down.
streaming.
Oh, sorry.
Don't sit down.
As far as I'm
We'll call this meeting to order. Let's rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the Union City Community Schools Board Meeting. Our meeting agenda is available for you to follow. The expectation for our board meeting is to follow this agenda closely. We operate under the Open Meetings Act and utilize Robert's Rules of Order to govern our discussion and decision-making process. There is an opportunity for public comment during our set agenda. We welcome the public to express their opinions during this time of our agenda. If there are questions about the agenda or the board meeting process, please seek out one of the board members for clarification. Do we have any, oh wait, it's not time for that, sorry. Any addition or deletion of items to the agenda tonight? Okay, we'll move on to consent agenda. I'll entertain a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented.
So moved. Support.
Discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Do we have any correspondence this evening?
None that I'm aware of.
Okay. All right, next is comments, public comment statement time. This is a section of the meeting in which the public may make comments or share their opinions about items on the agenda. We ask you to limit your comments to no longer than 5 minutes per person to allow others the opportunity to speak. This is an opportunity for the board to listen to your concerns. It is not board practice to act on the concerns voiced during this meeting to allow for the board to do further research. Do we have any comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to action items. First up is our financials. Board action is required to approve the financials for the month ending March 31st, 2025. I'll entertain a motion for the same.
So moved. Support.
Discussion?
Quick question about the food service. Looks like we're losing a lot more than we thought. Is that just because we haven't got everything from the revenue side yet? We're waiting on it.
Yeah, the money we get it's a month behind, like, the food that we purchase.
That's it.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. We'll move on to our budget amendment resolution. Board action is required to approve the budget amendment for 2024-2025. I'll entertain a motion for the same.
So moved. Support.
Discussion?
Question. Anybody else in first? Sarah, it looks like, I was looking at this earlier. We're off by 175K on our expenses, but 80,000 of that is a safety grant that's coming out anyway, so that you're off by 90, so, and then 30-some thousand was the K-12, so now you're off by 60, and 30,000 of that was the policy thing, so now you're off by 30. That's pretty darn good.
I didn't know where you were going.
I didn't either. I think you're all sitting just waiting for the other shoe.
Well, the number's pretty big, but the board approved a portion of that, and 80,000 is in and out according to this. It's offset by revenue, so that the only question I really have is why are we doing it now and not in a month or two?
So normally I actually try to do a budget amendment in February or March. I try to do one before the last one. So, and it just kind of was a little bit later this year. I was waiting for, there's some different things they did with state aid this year, so I was kind of trying to see where that fell before I did another amendment. But that's why it's actually a month later than I would normally do one.
So I think given the changes that we made and to it, that's impressive that it's that close. Granted, if it's bad in July, then we'll have
It'll be a different discussion
Right.
then, right?
now, I mean, with that kind of in and out, it's pretty tight.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, Kelly, can you call the roll for this,
Mhm.
please?
Mears,
Yes.
Gauchi,
Here.
Steele,
Yes.
Arlt,
Yes.
Labar,
Yes.
Yaki,
Yes.
Katz. Herman.
Yes. Say your vote these
Whoa.
days?
Yes.
Shoot.
Sure.
I
It's
just
okay.
was look. Who knows what I was doing?
It's all right, no worries.
Did you say, I didn't hear you say yes.
I did not.
I know you
Present.
did.
I was kind of stunned, to be honest with you.
Present.
All right. Successor superintendent contract. Board action is required to approve the contract for Patrick McCarr as successor superintendent. I'll entertain a motion for the same.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion?
So basically, nothing really changes other than, whenever you decide to retire.
When I decide to retire, or if I get fired, I suppose. But when I decide to retire, then at that point, you'll have to negotiate with Patrick about his contract for the role.
And when was his contract expired before, just for the,
It was this is an addendum to his 2-year contract, so
it didn't change the length of the contract?
No.
Okay.
So when we do contracts for next year for everyone in June, it'll be included in that, this addendum will be included in that contract as well.
Okay.
Makes sense reading through it.
Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Retirement. Board action is required to accept the retirement of Suzette Michael, middle school cook, and she's worked for the district for almost 10 years. I would entertain a motion for the same.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion?
Healthcare.
I know. Sorry to see her go for a reason like that. So, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Next is night custodian hire. Board action is required to approve the hiring of Caden Smeltzer as the middle school night custodian. I would entertain a motion for the same.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion?
It's gonna be just the middle school then?
Yeah, he's in middle school. That position was open, and now the high school position is open, so.
Any other discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion carries. Middle school cook hire. Board action is required to approve the hiring of Heather Radley as a middle school cook. I would entertain a motion for the same.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion is carried.
Cruising.
We are. Discussion items. The CISD budget 2025-2026.
Yeah, the proposed budget from the ISD is attached, so you can have time to look it over before May. It just has to be approved before June, some date in June. So it'll be on the agenda for May. It either has to be, you have to act on it. You have, remember how you act plays no role as to whether or not they adopt it or not. Last year and my recommendation, you chose not to approve it, but they still went ahead and spent their money and held on to money. So it'll be there in May. I don't have a firm recommendation yet this year. I've looked it over briefly. I'm going to look at it again in more detail before May and I'll have my recommendation then.
Just out of curiosity, how come they changed their budget from proposed by $7 million? Their revenue was a big miss from what they thought. I'm just curious what happened. But
I don't know the answer to that question. Sarah?
I understand.
I saw you laugh
The
at that
state
softball.
changes things often, so yeah.
that was the
I can ask them if you'd like me to.
yeah, it was in the federal.
can you reach out to,
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Ludlow or whoever,
Corey.
the business manager up there?
So I'm not as concerned as we were before, cause their income is quite a bit, I call income, but revenue is quite a bit down from what it has been. So, I don't think.
I think that they also receive some kind of ESSER funds,
Oh,
like we did.
Yeah, they did.
But I just thought of that, like, I think that they also receive
So they're
some, so
federalized,
they
but-
probably, cause we had a
yeah.
huge change from
The
last
federal
year's federal to
drops.
this year's too. But I'll definitely reach out to them.
doesn't change anything, I'm just curious.
Federal
Yeah.
sources dropped by like $6
I mean,
million.
it's something that
$7
we're
million.
missing or something, I don't know, you never know.
Okay, new Troon board policies.
Yes, all of the new term board policies are in your packet. We went through quite a process reviewing each of those with Troon and making the choices that needed to be made to align them with our existing policies. And the last thing we finally finished up were the policies on graduation requirements, and in looking at those, it became apparent that we need to readdress our graduation requirements, and so we've put a committee together that we're going to be looking at those over the next couple months and come to you with a revision on those probably in July. Patrick, Amber, Stacy, and myself are going to work on those. But currently what's in there matches what our current graduation requirements are. But so everything's in there. This isn't an official reading because you really don't have to have 2 readings of these, but I wanted to give them to you in advance so you have a chance to look through them. Email me any questions, anything you might come across. I realize it's a lot to go through. I don't expect everyone to necessarily go through and look at all of them. Some of them there's a lot of mundane things in there, but maybe you want to look up the things that are more political or that you're more interested in. Look up maybe the sex education policies, the grading policies. What are some of the other more political ones?
I don't have it.
I didn't either.
You
Jen
go
showed
up
me.
to books.
You go to books
At the top.
See what
Oh.
books are?
Meetings
Yeah.
And policies.
and policies.
Oh, I
Yeah,
didn't know
that was in my email.
Mhm.
Yep.
I guess I missed seeing that. Okay,
Yep.
great. I will read it now.
And they're all in there. So
Okay.
So,
Heavy read.
most of them haven't changed much, right? It's just how it's organized and how,
yeah, okay. So
like, what should I be?
they've all changed
Policy.
now because they're structured completely differently than Neola's were. There are fewer policies.
Good,
Troon focuses on things where you need board policies because of the law and specifics. It doesn't add in a lot of policies that really aren't important. So it's a more narrow focus, and things are organized a little bit differently. They're organized by there's like a student, staff, facilities, and then like the organization of the board. There's like 4 different ones, and I think you'll find as you read through them, just kind of look through it, much better organization, much easier to find something when you need to. After reading, I've been through them 3 times now. It's so much easier to work with than Neola was. It's really not even a comparison. So, and the numbers don't line up with Neola's. It's a different numbering scheme and everything. So you'll want to look through them all. And like I said, there's some that are kind of mundane and unimportant things. They just have to be stated. And then there are others that, you probably, because of concerns in the community or your own concerns, will want to make sure you read those. If the board says next month, hey, we're not ready to approve these yet, then we'll wait a month. It doesn't have to be done. We're not on a deadline. But when we do approve them, we'll approve all of the first thing you do is repeal all of your Neola except for the bullying policy. And then you would approve the Troon policies except for the new bullying policy. And then you wait a month and you repeal the Neola bullying policy and add in the Troon bullying policy. And that's because by law, the only policy that has to have 2 readings is the policy on bullying. Otherwise, you don't have to. And so going forward, in Neola, we always had 2 readings. Going forward, everything will be 1 reading. And unless there needs to be an update, all the updates will be done in July every year. So this July, they should have a whole set of updates that we will go through and do. So, and these are all up to date and current as of whatever the changes in the law, the most recent, all the Title IX changes, all those are included in here. Because Title IX was just changed back from how it was under Biden to how it was under Trump when he ended. All that stuff we did over Biden, those 4 years, they spent 3 years working on it. We all implemented it for 1 year, and then it all got thrown out and we went back. So all the trainings we did, everything else was all pointless. And in 3 more years, we'll probably go through the same thing again, the other way maybe, I don't know. So it's just kind of odd.
So it's totally new,
Totally new,
totally better,
totally better.
and you've looked at it.
I've looked at it, I've been through it at least 3 times. We had, Patrick do I sat through trainings with our attorneys.
6 hours of training.
6 hours going through the policies, looking at, because some of the policies, they have choices you make based on your district, your size of your district, those things. And so they would describe the choices and what they were, and then we would try to align it to what we already have here, to make it match up. So that's really what it is. I can't think of anything in there that is a tremendous or even that big a difference from what we've had in the past. So it's just organized differently, and it's much more refined. It's going to be a huge improvement. The current Neola policies, no matter how many times they've been updated, there are so many things in there that as I was going through the process of trying to figure out how to revise those, so many things in there that I knew were out of date, that for one reason or another just did not align with current law in Michigan. And so I'm so glad that we are making this switch. I think, Patrick, would you agree with me after looking through them?
I would. There's a lot of stuff where it was like I said, out of date, so we'd stumble across it as we were going through like a different policy, and it'd be annoying to realize we had these discrepancies, and now the law will be all the way up to date, like a clean slate with everything.
And we have new forms, to use that go along with them. And I've got a breakdown of different things. There are certain legal requirements of certain trainings you have to do each year. Like I found out in this process that you're legally required to do, I think it was an hour-long training on bullying with your whole staff at the beginning of every school year. And that's in there now. And so that's on my agenda. I've got a list of items that we're going to sit down with administrators to make sure we hit all the different things that have to be hit at the beginning of the year. So it's been a very helpful process to go through.
How do you know what revision you're on? Is it because each series, whatever, has a different. I mean, it can be revised, right? I guess my concern is, so this is gonna be online, correct? So there's only gonna be whatever's online is the most current revision.
Whatever's online is the most current version, yes.
Okay.
That is those that are online are our current live policies. And once the board approves them, there'll be a date at the bottom of each one that shows when it was approved. You might see there's a place for it down there, but
Adopted.
yeah, it'll show when it was adopted.
Okay.
After you adopt them, somebody will have to go through and put that date on each one.
Okay, good, because I want to make sure that. It's nice to know if we're talking about the same policy, she prints it out, I print it out, technically it's out of date once you print it out, which is kinda annoying, but at least you have it in your hand, well, you have the old one, I have the new one, okay, now we can make
Right.
sure we're right, okay.
So they will all be right there in your packet now, which is also a great improvement. They're right there with your agenda. You'll have access to all your policies.
That is good. Do you know when they do the updates, will they do something similar where they'll strike out and we can see what was there and what it's being replaced by?
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay, good.
Highlighting.
That makes it so much
Because
easier.
they send theirs out in Word documents, and so we have the Word document of our current, and so even if they just send the new one, but I've seen the updates, and it has the strike through, but even if they just set the new one, we can always use, there's a function in Word you can use to compare two documents, and it will go through and strike out and show you the things that are different.
Gotcha.
So,
Okay. Good deal. All right, we'll move on to our next public comment time. This is a section of the meeting in which the public may make comments or share their opinions about Union City Community Schools. We ask you to limit your comments to no longer than 5 minutes per person to allow others the opportunity to speak. This is an opportunity for the board to listen to your concerns. It is not board practice to act on the concerns voiced during this meeting to allow for the board to do further research. Do we have any other public comments at this time? Seeing none, we'll move on to board roundtable. Does anyone have anything that they want to share or comment about? I got from Amber the dates and times for upcoming graduation ceremonies. First off, we will have the Charger Academy graduation. It will be at the Congregational Church on Broadway this year, as Paula is no longer renting out her business. It will be on May 30th at 6 p.m. That's a Friday. And for those of you who are newer, I highly recommend coming. It's amazing.
It is.
It's, I don't know how to describe it other than it's amazing to hear about these kids and where they're headed. So, highly recommend. But we probably need to be there, if it's at 6, we probably need to be there at like 5:45.
That should be fine.
Okay. Then the high school graduation is on June 1st, and we need to be here at 1:30. Graduation is at 2. And Amber let me know that the senior class has requested an outdoor ceremony, weather permitting. So we'll still gather at 1:30 here in this area and then head to the football field if it's a nice day.
Can we get a list of the graduates, just because Archie and I probably wanna give diplomas to certain people, cause we have kids.
too.
And maybe Jen,
Not maybe. We're gonna fight over
so maybe we
something.
could,
Sounds like these guys need to fight over graduates,
We're
so
gonna fight wrestle?
yeah, at the next board meeting.
yeah, no, I just, it'd be nice to have that, and then we can,
Yeah.
I'd
Arm
like to
wrestle.
see the brawl on the stage.
Yeah.
Cage
that'd be good.
match.
well, there's
Arm
one
wrestle
person in
for-
particular that Jen's gonna be upset that I took from her, so.
I'm gonna just call all the senior wrestlers right now, so.
Is
I
it
just-
gonna be a brawl?
I might have an issue with one of those two.
I don't wanna do that Sunday afternoon, or, 1 o'clock, say,
Yeah,
okay, I got
yeah,
this
we're all
person,
like,
I
hey, what about this?
I
Do you
can
want
do
this?
that
Right.
during the
We need to
closed
have-
session, I'll
Yeah.
generate a list.
Oh, okay, great.
Perfect.
Thank you.
leave a sign of spot. We'll do a lottery. You'll have to take care of
Big draft.
Oh, shoot. All right. Is there a baccalaureate?
There is baccalaureate. Let me look. I think it's the 29th, but don't quote me on that. Let me check my calendar. Yes, the 29th at the Assembly of God Church at 6:30.
Okay. Okay, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for that info. Does anybody have anything else for board roundtable?
Is it 6:30?
Yeah, 6:30, May 29th. Assembly of God.
Wear a tux.
Okay, seeing nothing else, I would entertain a motion to go into closed session to discuss collective bargaining. The only thing that will be left after we come back from closed session is adjournment. You may stay for that if you'd like, but that is all that will be going on.
I'm
So,
gonna stop the stream and it won't be coming back on since
right,
we're just
and,
gonna adjourn.
right, yep. So I will entertain a motion to go into closed session.
So moved.
Support.
Discussion. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Motion is carried. We will